back at it again.
That's
Hell
right.
yeah.
Hey, welcome to episode 2 of Mosh Vets. I'm Dave, and I'm joined with...
Justin Curtis.
I didn't say my last name, but no big deal.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on our first episode? How do you feel about it?
I felt good.
No.
I need to work on my yas.
As I'm yang.
As I'm yang. Yeah. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I don't know why. Like, just saying something when somebody's talking. And
you
just to show that I'm like, hey,
Exactly.
I'm engaged in what you're saying. But I guess for this, we probably don't need to do that.
Yeah. As I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, we got really good reviews on the first episode. Everyone seems to really enjoy it. And obviously, both of us are... I mean, when we started this, obviously, we want people to listen to it and check it out and watch and all that. But just all the views and all the comments and all the likes and shares, like, we really, deep down, super appreciate it. So...
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you've checked us out, and if this is your first time, thanks for checking us out, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're trying to appeal to music lovers and anyone that's been in the military or families in the military or anything like that. Like, we're trying to cover all the bases. So with that being said, we can go over our first little topic here. And I know, like, in our escapades in the military, we've gone through a lot of funny things and weird experiences, and I wanted to kind of cover that with you because I think we could have a good time with that. But like, what's one of your, when you think of like your time in the military, like what's one thing that like sticks out to you? That's the one thing that, like, one experience you've had.
The one thing, like, yeah, there's a couple of...
I mean, obviously there's a bajillion things I can think of, so
I'm trying to think of like the key things that that I really like, especially going to basic training. That was probably as easy as the Air Force basic training is. It's still kind of a shock to the system. Even coming out of like football practices and soccer and baseball and doing sports, it's still a shock to the system when you get there and nobody gives you shit about you.
yeah,
and they don't care.
And they're not trying to make it easy on you either.
They don't care if you pass or fail. They don't care where you go after this. You know, it's just like, can you meet the standard and give it your all? So that's always something, I guess, it's in the back of my mind. But like, I guess the one thing that I always look back on when I think about my military time is just being in Iraq with the guys I was in Iraq with. I think because it was such a, I don't know, stressful moment, you know, especially being in the Air Force and not, I didn't hear of anybody going to Iraq except for the guys on the ground kicking doors and stuff. And then they were like, you're going to Baghdad, Iraq. On Christmas Eve, they told me.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a good present. And then, just going there. I think that was like, when I look back at that. I look at basic training, Iraq. Well, my first battalion chief, when he left, he was like a kind of a mentor to me. He was like the father away from home.
Yeah.
He treated us all as such. He was such a great dude. Rest in peace, Mr. Thames. And he was such a great guy. When he left, that was kind of I was like, oh my God, people leave. Like, people don't stay. Like, we don't stay around. It's like my first kind of interaction to that. Like, people leaving.
Yeah, you're already away from home, and you're getting used
well,
to
I was home, unfortunately. That was horrible. I shouldn't have come home. I should have gone somewhere else. But that, so coming in, first supervisor leaving, or battalion chief leaving Iraq, and then separating. I vividly remember like the day of separation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that.
Yeah.
Like, you do the whole out processing and stuff like that, and then it just doesn't seem real. That
I kept looking at my uniform. Like, I kept kind of like, oh, I'm not going to wear this anymore. Like, I've been wearing it for 9 years. And then I'm like looking yeah, I've worn this almost every day for 9 years, and I'm not going to wear it anymore. I mean, it wasn't like all emotional, but I was just kind of like looking at it for the last time type of deal.
Yeah.
You know, on me type thing. So I don't know. I don't know. Does that
Yeah,
sound
I
cheesy?
won't have to wear this for anything else other than like ceremonies or something like that in the future. So
Well, it's good and bad. You know, I think kind of like when you go to basic training and you leave. I don't know if you had this experience, but like when I left basic training, like I was missing it. Like I was missing the people, and like I knew my day to day for six weeks. I knew exactly what I was doing, and then I was like on a bus going to the middle of Texas, and I was like, what? Like I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands. And then like we stopped at a gas station, and I stopped at the gas station, and the driver was like, all right, you got 30 minutes. Be back on the bus in 30 minutes. And we're like, okay. And I went to the dude, and I was like, can I get a pack of cigarettes? And he was like, I don't give a fuck what you do as long as you're back on this bus in 30 minutes. And then I got off the bus, and I was like, we can smoke. We can smoke. And everybody rushed in and got cigarettes. Or like people got chewed. You know, like there are no rules. Oh, there's only one rule. Be back on the bus, you know.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That reminds me so much of my second deployment. I went to United Arab Emirates, and on the way back, like when you're there, they ration drinks and stuff, whatever. But we were coming back through, and we landed in Ireland.
Shannon Airport. Yeah,
it must have been. It wasn't Dublin. Yeah,
Shannon Airport, dude.
Shannon. Yeah,
they had that pub right out. Like
yeah,
right
right
as
after
you come into the concourse, and the duty free shop was out there too. Yeah, and you go right there, and there's just hot Irish women everywhere, and you're just like, oh, everything's green out the windows. Dude, it's so crazy.
It was so funny because we're all in our DCUs, like our desert camo uniform, and like we step off, and first person, like an airman, was like to the commander, like, "Can we drink?" And he's like, yeah, like it's fine. And then everyone was like storming off the plane,
hammered,
like,
dude.
Yeah. They were all running out, and we were only there for a few hours.
Yep,
so
but
you can only imagine.
You get hammered in that few hours. It's a good flight home, dude.
And it was so funny because everyone's like, "We have to get Guinness. I've always wanted to drink a Guinness in Ireland." And then,
well, that's how I found Beamish. So everybody was drinking Guinness, and I saw this beer. I'm like, well, let me try this. And they had
I may have had that because I was like,
is.
I don't want to be like everyone else.
And it's damn good too. I really enjoyed that beer. You can't find it everywhere, but yeah, it's really good if you like Guinness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Shannon Airport. I fucking love Shannon Airport.
Out of like your experiences, like basic training really sticks out there to you.
Yeah, it's just I just kind of think back, and I look back on basic training fondly. Like I laugh at stuff. Like I love watching basic training videos.
Oh yeah,
and just laughing because you're going from a kid that's been in the house and mommy and daddy took care of you to a man. So I love
in minutes.
I love listening to TIs tell stories and just and watching videos of like knife hands and them yelling at him because you've been there, you've done that. So you look at it fondly, like, haha, we've all made it through that shit.
Yeah, and
it was horrible. And you did 1,000 push-ups, and you were, got smoked.
Running every day.
But it was, but then, the last couple weeks you're there, and you're doing your PT test, and you're now running a, 12-minute, 10-minute, 12-minute mile and a half, and you're breezing through push-ups in the morning, and you're, I remember sitting there doing sit-ups, and, like, your motivation would be, like, your, not your element leader, but your, dorm chief. He would be like, it's French toast today, boys, and we're doing like sit-ups, and like every time we would sit up, so you're on the I think it was probably the same when you went in, you had the pad out there, and you had your pull-up bar and all that, so and the track was out there, and so we would do sit-ups, and every time you would lay down you couldn't see over the fence, but every time you'd sit up you could see over the fence in the distance, and every time we would sit up you could see the arches of McDonald's, and then you would go down and then you couldn't see them, and then you would go up and see the arches of McDonald's. It was great, dude.
That's awesome.
Whatever motivates you to get through whatever BS.
For real, right?
Yeah, because eventually it will. I always looked at it like eventually, and I do that in now too is like eventually it will stop. Either it'll be over or you're gonna die. I don't know if that's a positive way to look at it, but like being in the fire department, you know, and like doing something, it's like you just keep going and you just keep going and you keep putting this one foot in front of the other until it's over, and then however that ends up, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I don't know if that sounds weird, but
pretty morbid, I guess.
well, maybe I need to see some professional help.
You kind of have to think like that, you know, like especially being deployed and stuff like that on your deployments. There were a lot of times that, you know, certain experiences or like I heard something going on off base or something like that where I was like, do I need to step outside and do something about this? Or, you know, you never know if you're going to make it. What's happening over there? You know, it's just.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure, you know, we got mortar attacks. I'm sure
Yeah.
you went
Mortars,
through that and
rockets,
stuff.
small arms fire, yeah.
Yeah, so you never know, like.
Wasn't every day.
Yeah,
Wasn't
no,
like,
it
oh,
wasn't,
every day's a bad day, but
Yeah.
it happened, and your butthole puckers up, and you know, you do the Air Force standard. You have your Kevlar helmet and your level 4 body armor in your hand, and then you walk outside with it in your hand instead of having it
Like,
on
do
and
I
going
need
like,
to put this on?
is that it? Am I good? Yeah.
Yeah, it almost like in the 4 months, like after I think probably because when we first got there, like we got attacked the first night we got there, and then I just was like freaking out because I was like, oh my god, is this gonna be every day? And then, you know, after about the 5th or 6th attack, you're just like, this again, like, you know, and then you got to do accountability and make sure everybody's present and accounted for, and it almost seems like a chore. You're like, oh my god, we got to do a sweep and all that stuff. So, yeah, so for my experiences, that's like one of the things that just like pops up in the top of my head because you just never expect that you're gonna ever go through something like that, you know. So
Yeah. I do remember, I have one funny story about that. So, like, when we were in Iraq, our fire station was across the flight line. So we were like, it was us and EOD across the flight line.
And you were in Baghdad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Baghdad International Airport. And so we were like, it was EOD and fire, and then 100 yards behind us was Baghdad International Airport. Like, people going in and out. Normal civilians in Iraq working, doing whatever. So, like, the wire, I guess, was right there, you know? And so we were, like, always out on our own and stuff. We had, like, 2 rockets go over the fire station at night. So we never heard them, and they landed, like, far away.
Yeah.
But the big news was, 2 rockets went over the fire station last night, pretty low, you know? And they hit near, like, Liberty or Victory, one of the camps out there, the Army camps out there. And the next morning, they're like, oh, shit, commander's call. We're all going to meet up over at CE and do a commander's call. He's got to brief us. And I'm like, oh, okay. They're going to brief us on this attack. Maybe this is something. We're going to have to get ready. Maybe it's something more coming.
Yeah.
You know, like we were like, okay, maybe this is where we see some action. You know, as the fire, you know, even though we're in the fire department, you know, you're in a war zone, so like we're probably gonna
didn't go there with like unarmed.
No, we went there
You
with
flew
M16s.
there
We had our
M16s,
own, we had our own armory at the fire station and everything. Yeah, and so like we all mount up, we all go over there. They have all the CE in this one location. And the commander starts briefing us. I'm like, all right, he's going to tell us that like something's up, and this is our moment to shine in a war zone, right? And he was like, I've been seeing a lot of you guys walk around here with your shirts untucked and your PT gear. We need to have our shirts tucked in for PT gear, and also you need to wear your reflective belt. We need to have our reflective belts on so we can be highly reflective in a war zone, even at night, so that you're a moving target for the bad guys.
Oh my god!
And of course, me, I have foot and mouth disease, which anybody who knows me and is watching this knows that I have foot and mouth disease. I like raised my hand, of course, and was like, "Is anybody going to talk about the 2 rockets that went over the fire department last night?" And they're like, "No, this is just for grooming standards and safety with your reflective belts." And I was like, "This is what I signed up for."
Yeah, dude.
Like at that moment, I was like, "Oh, I should have gone Army Marines or something, dude." Like, I cannot believe that we're in a war zone and you're talking to me about reflective belts right now. And they had to be around your waist. They couldn't be over your shoulder.
Yeah.
And you couldn't roll your hats, your boonie hats.
Yeah, we
maybe
have,
that's what I remember the most is the 36-2903, dog.
I got it. Yeah, making sure that your uniform
Grooming
looks
standards.
Yeah, I remember that about Iraq as well, because we used to do like tests and like exercises and stuff. Actually, this is kind of an interesting story, but when I was there, since we're already on the topic, but we do exercises. It's like,
Oh yeah,
exercise, in-flight emergency, ground emergency, there's a fire or something like that. It's not
an
real.
F-15 type aircraft.
Yeah.
Landing runway, tail number, winds are at. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it.
So we, in my job, we're airfield management, so we would get over the it's called the primary, where they would call us and it connected to you guys, connected to us, connected to the police, like the main first responders. And then we would call over the secondary and tell everybody else on base what's going on, so no one's freaking out about whatever emergency or exercise or whatever. But we would do these exercises in Iraq, and it was like one time we did it was we got attacked exercise, but we actually got attacked during the exercise. So it was like no one knew what was going on. They were like, "Is this exercise? Is this?" And then people were actually hurt that during the attack. So like they're like, "Shut it down!" Like the commander comes running out, like, "No more of this!" Like, and then we didn't. I understand the point of it. Like it's supposed to, and it was during the middle of the day, and usually attacks usually happen at night and things like that. But it was like 4 PM. And we're out there like running around like it's a game, and then and that's when I was just like, man, we like playing like dress up and exercise and practice all the time. And then when the real shit happens, it's like, what do we do? Like, I mean, and that's all to get you ready for that. But, we're over here playing Barbies and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, what correlates with that is like communication. The communication broke down, which correlates to bands too. It's like when communication seriously, like when communication breaks down, that's the first thing that breaks down in anything is communication. That's what being in the fire department. The hardest thing to do in an emergency scene is communicate.
Yeah.
Whether it be with whoever's in command, whoever's on the ground, or even like going into a fire and trying to talk to the guys around you. There's a lot of noise going on, a lot of things going on. You got a mask on. It's hard to communicate, and if everybody's not communicating clearly and quickly, things break down immediately and everything goes bad. And the same thing with bands. Like if you're not communicating properly with your bandmates and like everybody's in one direction, one team goal, then the things will break down, and it's hard. It's easier on the emergency scene because there's life to be saved or something to be done. But in a band format, it's hard to communicate sometimes just because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? I mean, it's tough, Like you don't want to, and everybody's got 5 different ideas. So I just thought I'd bring that in full circle into
I think,
the whole thing.
Yeah, that's actually a good point to bring up, I guess, is like, as much as like in those positions, like there has to be a leader, like a lot of times you want to be like democratic and like let everyone have their own decision and own opinion, and that's fine. But I feel like at the end of the day, there has to be that one person that like steps up and makes the decisions, whether it be in an emergency situation or band or business, or someone has to be that like final say and have that vision. And I feel like you with Worthy, and we covered this in the first episode, but like you definitely know what your vision is for what you're trying to achieve. And the other question I wanted to ask you, so like we covered military, so like now I want to ask you, like, in your music career, like what's one thing that really stands out to you, whether it be a performance or like something that you've put together for someone else, or
I yeah, there's a couple key things. Like one was getting into Club LA and playing Club LA for the first time, because I had worked on that since 2012, and it took like 8 years to finally like crack and get in there. So it was like a big moment for me that I finally got in there, and finally like I was like, oh yeah, like I accomplished that goal. I accomplished that goal. I set it out as a goal, and I accomplished it. So it was really cool for me to get on a bigger stage in front of a bigger crowd and stuff like that. When I put together our runs a year ago or so, 2 years ago now on some of them, that was really cool. It's the first time I'd ever gotten on the road and like on city to city, and I helped put that together. I thought that was really cool. Exhausting, even just doing like 4 days, but it was still cool. I woke up in a different town every, went to bed and woke up. It was a lot of driving, but yeah, that's really cool. I don't know. Like putting out an album. We put out a whole album. That was cool. I never thought that would happen. Yeah, I think that, and just watching this thing grow since 2016, which, starting to get a little bit of traction out there in the, US of A and around the world in some places. And that's kind of cool. People have been responding to the latest stuff really good. We've been getting some really good feedback, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think those are like the main things that kind of stick out. But I always just enjoy being able to, and having the opportunity to get on stage and people react. Oh, and when we played the vinyl with Demon Hunter, and people started crowd surfing to our music.
Yeah,
that was that was one of those moments that will always stand out, because that was the first time we ever saw anybody crowd surfing, or the ability to crowd surf.
Yeah, that was sick.
And it was like the whole floor was packed and the balcony was packed, and then there was people crowd surfing to Worthy music.
Yeah.
Normally they say that for the headliner, and they were just going to town, man. That was really cool. That was a cool moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me is something similar to that. Like, I covered it before, but like when I was 16 going to the Worcester Palladium, I never expected to play there, and we got asked to play with Ice Nine Kills and Like Moss to Flames, and we're like filling up the van, and we know it's a big deal. Like we're loading up, getting ready for the show. We practiced so hard for that show, and we're loading the van, and we get a text like show sold out. Like all tickets are sold and stuff, and we were like, wait, what? Like, we're gonna play in front of like the biggest we had played in front of was like 20-30 people up to that point. So like getting that text, we were all in the van like, yeah, we practiced really hard, but this better be our best performance ever.
That's super sick. And probably super nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
at the same moment. Yeah,
for real. Like, we knew how much of a big moment it was, and we had like history with Ice Nine just from working with Spencer and stuff like that in our previous band, and he still even really supported Eyes on Satellites a lot as well, and it was just so cool to share the stage with them and know that we're about to play for the biggest crowd that we ever have. And then to step off stage, I mean, we played amazing. We did like such a good job. You guys did an awesome job at vinyl with Demon Hunter as well, and like
Thank you.
yeah, and like we just were so confident and happy, and walked out with way more fans, you know, than we ever thought, and that really just propelled our career from that point on. And it was really early in our career as well, so it was just so cool to be able to do that. And you know, obviously being able to step on stage at Warped Tour, and you know, 1 second we're playing, it was funny because Beartooth was playing one year that we were playing, and they were playing like right after us, and we played on the like the main stage, and we're like loading off, and Hawthorne Heights is loading in, and we're just like all of us were like big fans.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to step off stage, and they're like, "Great job, guys," you know, and then loading their stuff. I'm like, "Yo, where am I right now?" Like, and then we're rushing off stage to get over to watch Beartooth. Like,
Yeah.
that's all we wanted to do. And then, of course, it's like packed. So, but it was an amazing opportunity to be able to do that too. So that it's something I'll never forget. So.
That's one of my goals, is to play a big festival. Well,
It's sick. We got there, so it was Hartford, Connecticut was one of the dates that we played, and it's like the Xfinity Center or something like that. It's like the Comcast Center, it's something like that. And we're like loading in our gear, and we get like, you know, pushing our shit and all that. And I find someone that has something to do with Warped Tour, and I'm just like, hey, you know, we're Eyes and Satellites, we're loading in, and they get on the radio like, hey, Eyes and Satellites is here, where do they go? And he's like, oh yeah, just go down there, right to the main stage, you guys are stage right, just load your stuff in. And I'm like, like inside there? And he's like, yeah. I was like, yo. Like, it just didn't seem real. Like,
yeah, anytime you get like some form of amenity or like something, you know what I mean? Like, it's so I just like, those are the first times you're like, wow. You mean like when we played Club LA and they had like a guitar area and a stage area and a bass area and like a ramp to go up the, you know, like you start like, oh my god, there's a ramp to go up here, so I don't have to like pick everything
or people
up.
like load in your
yeah,
gear
when you have
for
loader,
you,
oh
you're
my
like,
god, first thing, that is the first thing I always say is if we ever do anything where we can have people work with us like on the road or anything like that, it's freaking people like to help us like loading in, you know, what am I thinking of? Jeez, it's leaving me.
what, like crew members?
Yeah,
like stagehands.
Stagehands,
Yeah.
you know, roadies. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Roadies. Oh my god, I would love to have roadies. Oh, that's like the one thing. I'll tune my guitars. I'll restring them. I'll do all of that. I just need someone. I just would love to go like get out of the van or get out of a van and like just
Go to
walk
work.
in the venue and like, okay, see you guys in like an hour. You know, we're gonna go get something to eat, type of deal. Or
Yeah.
that would be super sick.
One of these days,
Oh,
man.
the dream. Oh, the dream.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like that was actually at the Worcester Palladium too. Like, we pulled up in our van and we're like ready to start loading our stuff in, and these two guys came out and met us, and they were like, "All right, we're loading your stuff in for you." And we're like, "What?" Like,
And
and
that
then
takes,
we were all just like, "Are you sure?" Like, handing them stuff.
and it takes you a little bit to get used to it too, because you're like handing off your thousands of dollars worth
that
of gear
too,
to somebody,
yeah.
and you're like, wait a second, hold on, you don't know how
Expensive,
yeah, or like,
or how to handle
yeah,
it,
like,
yeah.
you know, yeah, it can be a little, rough at first, but I dig it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not far off from getting there. Like, you know, you make the right decisions and you can get to that point as well too. You know, it's just, I don't know. We're all trying to figure out how this whole music industry thing works and how to put yourself out there, and every day is a learning experience. I feel like it's, you know, and that's why I wanted to ask you for Damage has been, are you wanting to stop for a second?
What time are we at?
30 minutes.
Oh yeah, let's stop for a second, and we're back.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, like, you know, you're putting out new music right now and stuff, and you were showing me the numbers that you've had recently, and I know you don't want to talk about Worthy, but we're going to talk about Worthy.
That's fine.
This, like, we said it before. Justin does not want to promote himself, but obviously you're in a band.
Yeah.
It's why you're here.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I'm here.
Well, not
Like,
necessarily promote, but like this is a separate thing from
yeah.
from Worthy. Every experience is coming from Worthy, and then I had another metal band before that, and I've been in a cover band, but it's not like, check out Worthy. This is our podcast to check out Worthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, like, obviously you're learning things every day as well, and I'm trying to help as much as I can from my experiences. But so, like, for this new, especially Damaged, it's performing really well. And what do you think you did differently with this than you have any of the other releases that you've had? Just to kind of like teach people too, you know?
Yeah. So going in, well, back up. So we released the Titus album, and when we released the Titus album, we released it with one single, and then we released a single on its own, and then we released 7 songs on the album, and
Just
we released it as a whole
once.
album.
Yeah.
And that was moving into like a different form of the way people push music nowadays. It's all about singles and building up till your release with singles to keep the public looking at you. You know, I mean, everybody. And I basically just followed. After that, and I saw that we had one chunk of content, and we pushed out that one chunk of content. And then once the one chunk of content lost its flair, you know, and its effect on the public, then it went, you know, it just kind of went down, and we couldn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? Because it had already been released.
Yeah, you had no other content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the next release, which is our EP, Inertia, I honestly, I'll be honest, I just followed the Spirit Box method. I watched them grow over like a 2 to 3 year period, and I just did exactly what they did. I before we even set out to do the EP, I was like, we're going to release all 5 of them on their own for the most part. The 5th single will be on the EP when it's all released in full. And basically we're going to release 4 songs ahead of time, 4 singles. We'll make sure that there's a video attached to every one. We set out to do 1 music video. Then we figured out we could do music videos on our own. And then we did another one. And we just basically released it month after month, always on a Friday, the first Friday of every month. And we set it up like that. And then you basically talked us into promotion. And we had never done a promotion campaign before. We did promotion campaign with Inertia when we first released it, the song Inertia, and it performed really well. And then, you know, we just kept going with releases and kept promoting. We kept putting out things. We were lucky and got an editorial playlist. You know, the Spotify gods had graced us for a week or two with some Spotify editorials. We appreciate that, Spotify. And that helped out. And then that rolled into the 3rd song. And then, you know, we had videos all lined up. Now that all of this is like the video stuff, we have the ability to do it because we have guys with really good jobs, and we have the capability of doing it. I know that every band doesn't have the capability of doing it, but we just had videos for every single one. We were out playing shows, you know, just little things like, you know, pushing out, you know, action shots and doing our own little, you know, besides the promotion campaigns that we've done, doing our own little promotion campaigns on Facebook and IG, and just kind of rolling into it. And we just made sure that we had some kind of content it's going to go on like 5 months straight, that we could push for 5 whole months out of the year.
Yeah.
That we could focus on, and we just focused on one at a time, the whole time, building up to the release of the EP. And then after that, we have something else coming out, after that to kind of bridge the gap, and then we're already working on new music to go into the studio hopefully later in the year. But we know how the music industry is. Everything's going to be delayed. Everything's always delayed.
Yeah.
But that's
you
how.
don't want to put any like end dates on it.
Yeah,
yet.
no,
Exactly.
not at all. But yeah, so the goal was to push that out for 5 months, hopefully build some traction around the United States, and then go on a 2-week run. That didn't quite work out, unfortunately. So hopefully in 2024 we can get a tour, an actual tour together, and go do it for at least 2 weeks and be on the road. But yeah, that was kind of our way of doing it, is like just taking it one thing at a time, having something for each one, promoting each one, and spacing it out over a period of time. So instead of having one chunk of content, we have 5 chunks of content that we can push out throughout the year.
And you have visuals for everything too.
Visuals for everything.
That's really important.
Yeah.
Because you got to think of like reels on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. So like you want to, as important as it is that your music's good, but your visuals should also be really good as well. And like, don't just release a song as audio, like have some kind of visual to go with it too.
Yeah, it's very important to have some form of visual. And you try to catch people's attention, man. Like, it's all about catching people's attention. You can just put up there, listen to my song on Spotify and put a link up. How many people are going to click on that?
Yeah.
You know? And then we had kind of artwork to go along with, you know, like whether it be a lyric video or a music video or whatever, something to kind of correlate to the song, you know, to, you know, hopefully attract people in. Also, like, so we did with releasing all that stuff, we did a promotion campaign. So you find somebody good who can, you know, market your band or promote your band, or you could do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's kind of tricky. I'm glad that I paid somebody to do it for me, because it was just one less thing I had to worry about and figure out.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like, you know, and if they know what they're doing, you don't want to put your money into something that you're just not going to be able to do, like you don't know how to do right away. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if he knows how to do it and he can get it done, you might as well pay somebody for their service that you know is going to get it done the right way.
Yeah.
Instead of you just kind of putting it out there.
Sorry, but like you also went to somebody that you didn't know what would happen. You know, like you
True.
actually gave somebody a shot and it worked out.
Yeah,
So-
well, he was recommended very highly, and he has a background in it. So like there was some other things that it wasn't just some rando that was like, you want to promote your music, 50K Spotify emails that you get all the time. It was like somebody we knew, somebody we had met before, and you know, he had a background in marketing. His education is in marketing, and he markets all the time for other companies and businesses. So and himself. And other bands. So it was nice, and it was nice working with him because he's also a musician, and yeah, he's man, it's just like here's our promotional stuff, and then he's like, got it, on it, taking care of it. Watch the numbers go up, and I'm like,
he
cool.
Like, taught you a lot about like the behind the scenes stuff, like how to fix up your website and things like that too. So. I mean, and he's been checking in constantly and stuff. Like, but anyway, like that was one thing for us when I was in Eyes on Satellites, is trying to like build up the local community, like use the photographers that we had, and like, you know, anyone trying to get into if they wanted to be a manager, it's like, hey man, work with us and see how this goes. You know, you just really have to like rely on the people close to you and count on the people in this area and stuff like that. So, you know,
I was trying to think back to the promotional thing. Like, I know some people are like, oh, I want it to be organic, you know, like I want it to be an organic thing. Like people just find us, and man, it ain't the 80s anymore. It ain't the 90s anymore. You've got to put yourself in in front. You've got to get yourself positioned on social media because that's where everybody is. You know, everybody can say they don't have Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but you're still on social media somehow, some way, and you have to position yourself in that you know, that thing to get yourself in front of people. So, yeah, you know, I'm sure there's some people that are still like organically finding things, but it's very few and far between. I mean, everybody knows what McDonald's is, right? You know what McDonald's is. I know what McDonald's is. Can you turn on the TV or watch a YouTube video without seeing a McDonald's I'm Loving It commercial? And they've been the best or the biggest burger chain in the world for years. And they still spend millions on advertising. Yeah. So let that be a lesson to you. If they're still doing it and spending millions of dollars on advertising, and we all know what McDonald's is, and there's one on every corner, you should think about that with your band too. Yeah. And that's not spamming anybody. You're not spamming people. You're just putting your stuff out there for people to see. You know, spamming is going to the same Facebook group every single day and posting your song. That's spamming people.
Yeah. I mean, even that's not that bad. Like, spamming, I think, is more of like just constantly posting the same thing, like, every hour or something, you know, something like that. But, I mean, it can get, obviously, there's certain ways to do it. I think what's been really helpful for you guys, too, is, you know, the reaction videos that you've had to.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Like Orion did it, and then Hardcore Keem as well, and then, shout out to both of them
and
for.
Then, Colby from Levels did one.
That's
which
right.
was
Breakdown
really cool.
Beach Club, right?
Yeah, dude.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
I think so. Is it Breakdown? I know it's Breakdown something.
Yeah, Breakdown Beach Club.
And then we had like Matt Bevan. I think that's his last name. Matt Bevan. He does like a breakdown thing, and he did something on TikTok too, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's right.
He did a little skit with our. So all those little things, when you're looking to market your band and promote your band, look into them. Like TikTok little skit, like, you know, just do some research. If you love this, research it, look into it. I mean, dude, quarterbacks watch film all the time, and they're always constantly. What do they say about good quarterbacks? They're always in the room watching film and getting better and learning, you know, tendencies of the defense. There's YouTube and TikTok and Facebook, and watch what other bands do. I copied Spirit Box. With merch, you brought up a good idea too. Like, look on Merch Now and Merch Connection and see what's the most popular stuff, and then mimic, not copy, but mimic what is popular. We did. I walked around Zoomies and Hot Topic and all these places that my daughter likes to go, and you know, Ben, our vocalist, was like, I want to do an anime shirt. And I'm like, okay, well, come up with an idea. Right? And so then I took your advice, and I was like, well, let me go look around. Yeah. And so I went to Hot Topic, Zoomies with my daughter. I walked by Spencer's, and I just walked by and just looked, you know, or walked in and looked and just kind of looked around. And sure enough, on the walls, everything is like anime. And I was like, he's got something. Yeah. He's got an idea. And I have no clue what anything about anime at all, except for Vampire Hunter D, which was like in the 70s or 80s or something like that, I think. And so I was just like, run with it, dude. What do you got? What do you think will be popular? And he's like, this will be popular. And sure enough, he came up with a Totoro T-shirt. This little fat guy. I call him the fat guy T-shirt. And it's this little fat bear-looking monster thing. And everybody who's seen it, if they don't buy it, they say something about it. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like pointing back at the T-shirt, and I'm like, I don't know anything about anime, but man, it was and it sold, and like it sold in the first show. I think we had to restock it immediately. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's what sold for us too. Like we had, I don't know, we like I said, we all wanted to make decisions together and like meet in the middle or whatever, you know, all of us had our own opinion in things, and then we would finally come down to the decision, whatever we wanted to make. But one of the shirts that we made, we wanted it to be like kind of a meme and funny, and our page was like blowing up because we were being silly all the time and like making posts and learning how to make video and make our own photos, and it was all funny and stuff. So then we just wanted like a funny shirt, and Ron Swanson, we had a song called Swan Song. So we put Ron Swan Song, and it was like Ron Swanson on a swan, like, and
Perfect.
then it sold like crazy, and we made it ourselves. We made the screen, we like put the ink on and dried it, and they came out so bad. You could barely even read them.
Oh, really? It came out horrible?
But everybody loved them. They were like, we were just going on like a small tour too, so we were like, we need something to sell, like extra stuff to sell. So we went to like a Michael's or something like that and bought all their black T-shirts, and then just went home and tried to teach ourselves how to do it.
Yeah. Hey,
And
that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, it would have been a lot cooler if
it
we
would have came out better. Yeah.
printed them better, but
Well, another thing you were saying with that, like when everybody comes together, like band stuff and everything like that, it's you got to trust some people sometimes, even if you are the main decision maker in your band or the one who is a driving force. Sometimes you have to like take a step back and go and like look at it and trust. Like Ben, I was like with that, I was like, okay, like for me, I'm always just like, it's got to sell. It's got to work. If we're going to do it and we're going to put energy and time and money into it, it's got to work. But so like doing some stuff that's like unknown is hard sometimes, because you're like, well, I'm going to have to put like $200-$300 into this out of our band fund. And if it doesn't work, because we've had shirts that don't work, we're just going to have stuff sitting there that's not going to sell. Yeah. And, but like taking a step back and going, okay, we've done the kind of the research on it. You've seen that this anime thing is clearly a thing, and he's got a good idea, and he's really passionate about it. You trust in him. They're like, okay, cool. We'll do this. We'll give it a shot. And sure enough, man, like I had to eat some crow. Like I had to come back to him and be like, you won this round, bro. You got me. You know.
It's like I was saying, to watch like the merch sales websites and see what's like the top sellers.
Because what did you say to me about that? You said,
like, if this is doing well, it's going to do well for you.
Well,
too.
not only that, but like, so the bands that are putting stuff on that stuff, like we'll take Veil Maya for instance. They're attached to a label. Label has people,
a team
that goes out and researches and does that stuff, and then all comes together and be like, this is what we think would be a good idea. Like, what idea do you have? And then this is how we'll form it into something that, become popular, hopefully, or set the trendsetters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I always kept them. I'm like, okay, well, if they're like, we did one with stuff down the arms. That was like every long sleeve t-shirt I saw had some form of something down the arms. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, we need to put something down the arms. You know what I mean? It's just as simple as that. And those t-shirts have sold very well too. Like, you're not the hugest band, but, and everybody's different too, man. Like for every person who came in and saw the Totoro shirt, there's other ones that, weren't, you wouldn't think is as popular. And then and there's like, the guys are like, I like that shirt. Give me that shirt. And the girls are like, I like the Totoro shirt. Give me the Totoro. Oh my God, Totoro. All that sort of stuff. So, and then having multiple things, like multiple choices for everybody to, because everybody's different, man, and everybody likes a different style. I like a different style than a lot of people. Like, I know John, our drummer in Worthy, he doesn't like very boxy shirts. Like, he doesn't like that kind of thing. But I like that stuff. I like, and I like geometric designs and things like that. And he does not. He likes it, kind of fading into the shirt and everything like that. Yeah. So it's. But just trusting people sometimes that, like, I think I have a great idea, as long as it doesn't, mess up your band totally with funds. Like, I'm going to spend $1,000 on this geometric design, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you can take some chances here and there, and if it doesn't work, well, we're not going to do that again.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I think, even in your merch designs and stuff like that, like, if you can find something that just, like, fits Worthy, like this screams us, like for us, we were just silly. So a lot of the stuff that we did, we didn't really like take super seriously. Like, I mean, we had shirts with like certain lyrics on it that we thought were really cool that ended up doing really well. And then also we had our fun shirts and like funny stuff that, and you either liked one or the other, like you said. So we always tried to like, I don't know. I think it's important just to not take yourself too seriously sometimes too.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's we've come up with some designs that like, oh, this will be fun, and we actually have a new design that I think the new design, and which that's not taking us seriously. It's just having a kind of comedy thing, and then trying to appeal to like bands will appreciate that merch when it comes out, because everybody likes that thing that we're doing. So don't want to give too much away, but I think that'll be really, really funny and really cool, and like I think people will dig it. So yeah, that's really important. I think like for merch sales, like that's the only, we talked about it in the first episode, it's the only way you're gonna really make money at this stage, it's starting out and stuff. And a lot of the bigger venues, they want you as support, but they're not going to pay you. Yeah, they've got a big guarantee. They got to pay that band that came in. So yeah, you'll be on for support. You better have merch if you want to make some money on that show, because that's the only way that you're going to make any money is selling that merch at that show.
I gotta ask you, so like when you first started playing shows, did you have merch and all that stuff? Like, did you have stuff to sell when you like first started booking shows?
With Worthy?
Yeah.
We tried and we failed. Like, we went to a local place and just tried to get some tank tops. Mm-hmm. And what they did was they had the visual on the shirt, but as the shirt got bigger, the picture didn't get bigger.
Oh.
So you'd have a 2X shirt with a small logo or a small thing on it. So we did try from the get-go, but it didn't work out. So yeah, we definitely, but like there are some other things like stickers. We didn't have stickers for years, because I was like, screw that. What do I need? And then of course it pops in your head, like you're like, why am I so stupid? That's a huge promotional thing, and everybody always wants a sticker, and you can hand out a sticker to some, and it's not that expensive. It's like $40 for 100, and that's expensive for 100 of them. It's like $40. Go get yourself some stickers, because you can slap them on. Every venue has a place where you can put stickers. People put them on their cars. You can just slap them anywhere. Bathrooms. Give them out to people, like when they buy a shirt. Here's a sticker. It's like a little extra that you can give somebody to show that you appreciate.
Yeah, it's actually funny, because on my laptop I have a logo of a band on it, and I'll be doing work. I was traveling when I would work for the VIP company and stuff, and like I was on tour, and I had my laptop, and I'd be sitting there working on stuff, and people would be like, "Oh, what is that? Like, what band is that?" And it's actually kind of crazy, because you just like, there's so many times I'll be in a bathroom or at a venue and I see a sticker and I don't think anything of it, but then I'll see, I think it's happened a lot back home, where like I would see something in a venue, like a band name, and then I wouldn't think anything of it, and then I'll be going through like Spotify or something, and they'll come across, and I'm like, oh, I'll give them a listen, and I remember seeing their sticker, and there's just like little things that it doesn't register to you as like a band member, like how important that stuff is, but the more and more people will come across your name, it's like, all right, I'll just check them out. Like I'll finally, it almost takes that for some people. Like you just beat them down. And so it's like, all right, fine, I'll check you out. And then they finally do. And it's like, oh, these guys are actually really good. We got that all the time. Like with Oz and Satellites, people be like, I saw you on the show, or heard about you guys, or saw a sticker or something like that. And, as much as you don't think that it's that big of a deal, it's huge, I think. Like, well, I know.
Yeah, I think stickers are important. Now I'm on the sticker train of like, we gotta have stickers. Speaking of which, I need to go get more stickers. this this week coming up. I need to get more stickers.
Yeah,
we
we
got a show
need to
coming
make Mosh Vet stickers too.
Yeah.
A lot of like
Actually, I'll do that when I go up there to get the worthy stickers. So I'll make some
Alright.
Moshfed stickers.
I'll have to send. Well, the logo's on the drive.
I got the. Yeah. We're getting close.
Oh, we're getting close.
Yeah, we're getting
We
close.
got like 4 more minutes to fill up, I think.
Yeah. So. Okay, let's end with this then. How did you get in the military, bro?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to cover this.
Got to do like quick.
Yeah, what inspired you?
Yeah. Well, tell me the story. Like what kicked it off for you, and then I'll tell mine, and then we'll close with that.
Well, geez. I mean, I was a senior in high school and trying to figure out what the heck I wanted to do, and my grandfather had just passed away. He was in the Air Force for 31 years. My dad was in the Air Force for a short term, and then 9/11 happened, and then, a lot of it was like, the war kicked off and all that stuff, and around that time, I was like, just remember watching all that footage and just being like, whoever did this, we got to do something about it, and then once they started, like, the weapons of mass destruction and all that stuff, and it's all coming from Iraq and all that. Whatever side you stand on, I don't care. It's like what was going on in the news, And I just was like, well, I want to go over there. I want to do something about it, and I'm not going to join any other branch than the Air Force. Like, I feel like that would be a slap in the face to my grandfather, And I wanted to do it for him anyway, So that's what really inspired me was like, I just wanted to do it for the family and stuff like that. And I knew it would be really good for me too. So I didn't think I'd travel as much as I did, but
yeah,
it was awesome. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mine was a little different.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I had quit all sports because I was chasing partying in women. And I thought that was going to be a lot more fun because I played sports year round. On like 3 different sports, and I was always in the sport: baseball, football, soccer, and then I quit all sports because I just got burnt out. And then I thought I was going to be center fielder for the Yankees, even without playing sports. I was like, I'm going to be center fielder for the Yankees. It's going to happen. And then and then my senior year, I went to my parents on Christmas, and I was like, so. What's up with the college fund? Remember I brought that thing home in middle school and you guys were supposed to save up college money? And my parents were like, what college fund? And they were like, you had good Christmases, didn't you? And I was like, what? There's no college fund? Curses. So then about the spring, it was springtime, my senior year. I was sitting out back with my buddy Ben King, and we would skip school. And we were drinking a 12-pack of beer on his back patio while his parents were at work. And he was like, what are you going to do when you get out? And I was like, I don't know. Can't just sit here and work at the movie.
When you graduate high school?
Yeah. What are you going to do? And I was like, well, I can't sit here and work at the movie theater. That's not cool. And he was like, oh, man, what we should do is we should go in and be firefighters, man. Is like we can go and we'll go under the buddy program. "Quote unquote," the buddy program.
Yeah.
And we'll get our first base together, and we'll get our base of preference, and we can go to Hawaii, and we can just sit on the runway and drink beer like we're drinking now, and watch C-130s take off. How does that sound? And I was like, that sounds cool. I was like, I want to do that. I was like, firefighting. I've never even thought about firefighting, and then he was the one who mentioned it, and it sounded like kind of a team aspect. I was used to that with sports, and I was like, yeah. So I went and signed up, and he didn't.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and then I ended up going in, and then he ended up going in a year later, but I ended up going in and getting fire protection, and yeah, I've been doing it ever since. So,
wow.
Yeah. So over a case of beer,
that's crazy.
sitting in the backyard, that's how I made my decision, just right then and there. Boom. I was like, well, I don't have anything else to do. Go in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And then there's some other funny shit that happened in there, but we won't go into that.
Yeah, it's the best thing that I could have ever done at that time of my life, for sure.
Definitely needed it.
Yeah.
Definitely needed it.
Yeah, I needed that structure.
I think everybody, honestly. I know everybody won't agree with that, but I think everybody needs a little bit of that, just coming together as a team and working for something greater than yourself and having core values and, consequences and repercussions to your actions.
Yeah.
I think everybody needs that, but I think we're running on time now.
Yeah.
You want to call it?
Yeah, so we covered everything
Yeah.
that we really wanted to go over for this episode.
Kept my yas to a minimum this time
yeah,
around.
you did a great job.
Yeah, I
man.
just nodded my head this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so hopefully we have some new equipment that we're acquiring here, and we want to upgrade the show as much as we can. And
Trying to
stuff.
get better every time.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah.
We chose a different spot. We're still inside Downtown Music Hall here in Fort Walton Beach, and
Yeah.
I will give a shout out.
Oh,
yesterday,
yeah, we need you. Yeah.
What?
No, you go first.
Okay. Yesterday, we both ate here, and the food is incredible.
Yeah,
So
food
I
is
just wanted
great.
to shout that out.
And then I want to give a shout out, April 3rd, Downtown Music Hall.
That's right.
Until I Wake, Catch Your Breath, and Dark Divine with us, Worthy of the Crown, and Rise Up Lights here at Downtown Music Hall. Show starts at, I want to say 6:30. Yep, they're kicking us out now. We got to go. Later.
Thank you. Peace.
Should I ride? Bite my nails until